Welcome in to a brand new 10K sit down, a little bonus episode, bonus interview here for your enjoyment. And for this edition, we welcome in the event organizer of MapleBrook Soccer Club and the owner of MapleBrook 58ers and the MapleBrook WPSL team as well. And the 58ers are actually going to be competing in the 2021 Unity Cup against Joy Athletic this Saturday. We'll tell you a little bit more about that as the interview goes on. But right now, let me introduce Jean-Yves Viardin. John, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us here. And we really do appreciate it. So let's get into a little bit before we start talking about the Unity Cup and MapleBrook and the WPSL team and the 58ers and all that great stuff. Let's set the stage here and talk a little bit about your personal background. So how did you get involved with soccer specifically?
Probably about 20 years ago, I covered a coaching session for one of my friends, Dickie Vilme. That's pretty well-known guy in Minnesota, and just kind of fell in love with coaching. I had played on and off college and down in Puerto Rico and a couple of different places, and just kind of dipped my toe there, and then started coaching at the youth level. Did some high school gigs, and then it just kind of caught on, and it kind of became part of my life. I was owner of part of a store, Planet Soccer, at some point too here, and so got to know a lot of the community through that, and again, like through the high schools and the youth clubs and whatnot, and playing in all the adult leagues here over the last 10 or so years. Just really made roots here in Minnesota and in the soccer community, and just kind of stuck with it. So I've been coaching now for probably on and off about 20 years, various jobs. And that's kind of what brought me to Maple Grove, Minnesota with MapleBrook.
Yeah. So you kind of ingrained yourself, as you mentioned, into that soccer community. Were you approached by somebody about joining MapleBrook? Did you sort of facilitate that conversation? How did that partnership sort of manifest itself?
So at the time, just probably about 10 years ago, I had been working with various clubs in the area, and one of my friends was working at MapleBrook at the time, and they were looking for a director at the time, and so he said, it'd be great, you should come and try to help us out. And so that adventure started there about 10 years ago, and it just kind of stuck.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. So talk to us a little bit about your role with MapleBrook, kind of your role as the event organizer, and then also how the 58ers specifically came together, the UPSL team.
So I've had, I used to be part of a couple of different men teams in a couple of different places, and I always saw the value of that next level, specifically working with the youth programs of, well, what happens at U18 or U19 once you graduate out of the youth soccer world? You go and most of the kids play college, but they don't have anything to do when they come back during the summer. And two, there's really no kind of domestic, city league like they have in Europe, where you can go and see the people that and obviously going and supporting United is huge and it's great, and but that's one piece of it. I think the piece that's missing here and slightly starting to grow and gain momentum with USL, the different levels of USL and UPSL and MPSL is your local kind of grassroots teams. And I always thought it would be exciting to have a team as part of a youth club that, once you graduated out of the youth portion of it, you can come back and play. And it would be a great kind of template to show the younger kids about this is the level that we're trying to take you to. These are the things that this is basically the end result, right? And so, I put together a few events over the last 15 years here, exhibition games and whatnot. And I do come from a project management background, so those things are always fun for me. How do we make an event, right? Not just a game, but actual an event that means something. And so when spending a few years in the MPSL, when UPSL came up, it was a little bit more affordable. I have a women's team in the WPSL as well, MapleBrook Fury, and being able to afford the UPSL and have a little bit less restrictions with standards like stadiums and bath, locker rooms and all those things. It just made it easy for me to say, you know what, I think we can start a team here where we can bring all our alumni from the club, the youth club, either coaches or players, and then they can play, Saturday night soccer, basically. Come down, get some ice cream, come watch the kids that the coaches that play, and make it exciting. And so that was the idea. Obviously, COVID struck last year, and we weren't really able to have our season. And so Adi and I kind of put together more Adi than me, but put together the Goals Cup, over here at our facilities in Maple Grove, just to get something going, right? Everyone was dying to play. And so for us, it's really a community team. Everybody on our team is part of our club, either a trainer, a coach, an alumni. And so that's pretty exciting for us to be able to, again, keep promoting our brand and what we do and how we do it.
So talking about that Goals Minnesota Cup last year, obviously you mentioned you and Adi kind of helped facilitate this with the season not happening. Obviously this was a chance for guys to just get out of the house, get back on the pitch, start playing together. I talked to some of the guys over at FC Minneapolis, and they said they were getting depressed just sitting there and not being able to play soccer. So this is really that opportunity for them to get out on the field. Did you know that a tournament like this could have that kind of an impact in terms of just the I guess maybe these teams and players being just so grateful to have that opportunity to get out onto the field? And how do you think the tournament went as a whole, all things considered?
I think it was incredible. I think it was, and kudos to Adi for putting it together. I just facilitated the fields, so that was pretty easy for me. But I think you're spot on. It was a really rough summer, rough spring and rough summer, and and even the restrictions on the training, and so for us, we were, because of our facility and our deal with the city and whatnot, we had to abide by all the restrictions, which we did anyway. But we had small group training, so we actually, until probably the week before the Goals Cup, we're still training in pods and in groups, right? And that made it really difficult, for me, as far as I played in it. So I coached, I ran it, I played in it, and having to organize various groups to make sure that, that we're doing things by the book. It was hard. It was a lot of work. It was hard. But when we found ourselves at 9:00 at night on the field under the lights, it was all worth it. It was just like a release of like, oh, this is what normal life feels like again. Yeah. And not really taking that for granted. And the event went off really well, super well organized. It was a ton of fun. We have a great facility over here in Maple Grove. And it was just so much fun. And I don't think I've seen this many fans at a amateur event before. I mean, the fields were lined because there was nothing else to go watch.
Yep.
Right? Exactly. MLS was on.
Live sport. It's the only live sports you're able to go watch.
Live sports. It's local, and the people, and all the teams get along really well in the UPSL, and there's respect for each other, and it was really a collaboration of groups of people, of communities, of people saying, hey, this is what we love to do, and we get to do it. And let's be grateful and have a good time. And luckily for us, we hosted it, and then we ended up winning it, so that was kind of fun. Yeah. I like to show Adi that trophy, that huge trophy he got us.
You guys beat them in PKs in the final, right?
Yeah, we had 2 shootouts, so we had a little bit of luck on our side. We were, I would say, probably the oldest team. We have a lot of guys in their 30s and 40s still playing. So that's always fun for us. But yeah, the competition was great. The event was great. Adi did a great job, and it was it's what for me anyway, it's why I do this. It's really why I do this, because I love it, and I still get those butterflies in my stomach on game day, and I still look forward to it. And I think, we've lost a little bit of that through youth sports, a little bit, in the way things are run, and getting back to these community teams. I think that's what's going to bring health back to, soccer in the U.S.
I couldn't agree more. So now you head into 2021 here. You guys competed in the Goals Minnesota Cup. There was a Minnesota Fall Cup that a few of the teams that competed in the Goals Cup competed in as well. Now here in 2021, the 58ers, you guys decided to opt out, basically not compete in this year's UPSL spring season. When did you guys make that decision, and sort of what led you to that decision to not participate this year?
I mean, that was a very personal decision for me, really based on, everything that's gone on through the year in my life and whatnot. And I just didn't have the energy to really put something good together. It takes an incredible amount of work and finances, to pull this off. And having the women's team already, plus all the other things I have going on in my life. I got a new job this year, too, during the day for cross country mortgage here.
Nice.
And it's keeping me real busy, and I just didn't have the energy and the effort to do it well. We had a lot of the boys, because of COVID and their spring season in college, have a little bit of pressure from coaches not to play in the summer. And so it was going to be a grind to get it together. And so I decided, you know what, the league was very gracious in letting us kind of bank our money until next year and our finances until there, so that we can come back. Like you said, we talking about the fall. I'm not sure. Half our team is old and the other half they're in college, and so it makes for an interesting mix. But it does limit us a little bit in the fall when the boys go back to school, as far as players and whatnot. So because we're sticking with our vision and mission to keep it really as far as our MapleBrook product and our alumni and coaches and trainers, we're a little bit more limited as what we can do in the fall than maybe some of the other teams. So, honest to God, I was a little bit worn out. It's been a tough year on a lot of fronts. And I just had to pick, what I was going to do over the summer. And we don't do anything unless we do it at a great level. And so we just tabled it for a year.
I think that's obviously an admirable decision. You don't want to, especially coming off of the year that we had, you don't want to put your time and effort into something if you can't put all your time and effort into it, right? And do it at its fullest capacity, its fullest extent. So completely understandable. So best of luck on that front moving forward. But on the other side, you have the WPSL squad, the MapleBrook Fury, who are going to be underway here on Friday, the 4th. I believe I have my days right. I think Friday is the 4th. So what's that like building up to that season specifically, and what do you expect from them and the WPSL as a whole on the women's side this year?
So, that was challenging as well, because we didn't really have our season last year, and we just basically trained with all the restrictions. We were able to get a few exhibition games in last summer. Not being able to do anything over the breaks, over winter when the girls were back from college, was tough. And so we started about 2 weeks ago. We've been training. We have a pool of about 25 to 30 players that want to get ready for college in the fall. And so pretty excited, to get started this Friday. Super well-run league. It's awesome. We've had a great time. This will be, last year would have been our second year in it, I believe. So our first year 2 years ago, we finished on a 3-way tie with Mankato and Salvo. And then and that's everyone actually on our team was still in high school then. So that was pretty interesting for us. And then the following year, everything got canceled with COVID. And then this year we're having our regular season, but no playoffs. So again, we're still kind of dealing with some COVID restrictions. It's like I said, it's a great league because you have Dakota, you have Rochester, you have Mankato, kind of little bits and pieces from the cities. And so it's fun. I mean, it's fun to play different guys. The coaches are great. We all get along. The guy who runs the league, Matt, is awesome for us here in our conference. So I'm looking forward to it. We have our game on Friday, and then we have another game on Saturday as part of our youth tournament right after the Unity Cup, where we play Rochester here in Maple Grove.
Yeah, let's talk about the Unity Cup a little bit. So that's happening here on Saturday at the Maple Grove Senior High School Stadium, 5 p.m. It's what would have been the MapleBrook 58ers against Joy Athletic, right? That's an awesome matchup just in and of itself. So how did this come together, and what is the Unity Cup all about? So let's start at the beginning. How did this concept of the Unity Cup come together, getting Joy Athletic involved and kind of putting everything like this for this event together?
So, like I said, on and off, I've been organizing events over the last few years,
Mm.
mainly because it's a way for me to connect with a lot of friends that I don't get to see often, right? Everybody's busy once the soccer season start. Outside of soccer, I don't get to see a lot of these guys. And so we're always setting up something, you know.
Yep.
Specifically this year, I had gotten a call from Joy, my friend's coach over there, and I know Ted, and Ace, great guy, great coach, called me, to say, hey, we're new in the league NPSL. I spent some time in NPSL, and running some of the stuff there behind the scenes. So, they had just kind of called me to say, can you walk us through a few things? What should we look for? What should we expect and whatnot? And so we spent some time there. So we've had that relationship with them. We had talked about putting together, a friendly or a scrimmage. Obviously, when we didn't put together our team, that didn't seem like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
As the summer starts and it's starting to get nice out again, I started to kind of get my itch, which is usually what I get, and I get myself into things. So I was like, man, it's like we need to have a game. Something needs to happen. I went to one of the Joy of the People games in St. Louis Park, and it was awesome, and I had such a great time. And I was like, I want to bring this to my community over here, right? So Ace and I got together and said, hey, can we put together a scrimmage? He says, okay, but I only have this one date, June 5th. And I'm like, oh man, that's our youth tournament, right? So we're hosting a youth tournament, the MapleBrook Youth Tournament that weekend. And I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. We've done that in the past. It's have a game at night, just like, USA Cup used to do back in the day on the Saturday night with the Thunder. Used to have a Saturday night game. All the kids get to go. So I was like, and originally it just started as a bit kind of plain Jane. Let's have a game. It happens to be at night. We'll invite people. And then I was walking my dogs, which is usually where I get my greatest ideas. I was like, I miss my friends. I miss all the great people in the soccer community. And maybe this is an opportunity to kind of make them come visit me over here in Maple Grove.
Yeah.
And as I was talking on the phone with one of my friends, I was like, there's so much separation that's happened this year. There's so much division, even in the youth sports world, even in the amateur world,
Everywhere.
and it's always, honest to God, it's always bothered me. It's always bothered me. I'm like, you know what? We can compete on the field, but once we're off the field, we need to work together. In what I call our kind of soccer ecosystem in Minnesota. And if we don't do that together, and we're constantly going at each other and attacking each other, well, it's just not going to be fun. And at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun,
Absolutely.
and so called Ace. I said, hey, would you be okay if I kind of wrap this up a little bit? And with everything that's happened in Minneapolis and whatnot lately, it's just kind of been a mess. Minnesota's been a mess. And I thought we need to do something to bring people together. We need to do something to kind of bridge that gap. And so it just came to me. I was like, hey, you know what? We got to unite here. So let's just call it Unity Cup. I'll make a traveling cup. We'll play them every year back and forth. And whoever wins gets to keep the cup. But it's really not about winning the game. It's more about, bring all these groups of people that I know that are my friends together on one day. And I was able to coerce a few old guys to play, like Johnny Manyager and Aaron Pay.
Love that.
And so it's just like, I'm excited, and so it's really like a friends game of celebration of we get to play soccer, we get to do this together. Both groups really stand for and represent the same things, the same values. Joy of the people. I mean, it's just it's completely a different model than the rest of the youth soccer community in the States here. And so we represent the same things, love each other, let's get together, let's play a game. And then it's kind of taken on a life of its own, which is awesome. It's been a hectic couple of weeks getting everything together, and I'm not sure how it's going to end up, other than a lot of people want to come, and we just want to hang out and play good soccer, play a good brand of soccer with the right intent and the right spirit. And just celebrate being able to do stuff together.
That's Gonna be awesome. That's Saturday, Maple Grove Senior High School Stadium, 5 p.m. is when the game kicks off.
Free
And
admission. Free admission. We're covering everything.
okay.
Kind of leap of faith. There's some costs involved, and so anybody wants to make any donations, you know where to find me.
Please do. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, anybody who's interested in going, bring a few bucks for a tip jar. I mean, is it going to be cash or is it going to be card? Like, how are those donations, I guess, be accepted?
So I think we'll probably have a pot there, and I'll find something to raffle. I mean, we picked up Planet Soccer sponsoring.
Awesome.
Tony jumped in from the Stani Foundation. He'll be a big partner. We have one of my friends, Dr. Ramon Pastrano, who's huge in diversity training and multicultural training here in Minnesota. He's going to speak for a minute or two before the game to really let people know what we're doing and what it's about. My job, Cross Country Mortgage, is helping out. Kudos to them and Paul Basil at our branch over there. So we have a few partners kind of chipping in a little bit to cover the, stadiums aren't cheap and referees aren't cheap and all those things, and we have to cover those costs. So I took a kind of personal leap of faith and said, you know what, I want to do this, and if I end up paying for it, I pay for it. But it's we'd like to break even, and then kind of set the precedent for next year again. To keep doing it, because I think it's important. I think we don't take the time enough to realize how important these things are and why we do these things. And soccer's got just such an ability to bring people together. And I think we need to use that more now than ever.
Yeah, I ask you, if you're thinking about going, don't come empty-handed. Bring a couple bucks, drop in the pot. Anything helps, right, John? I mean, that's the one thing I've learned. Any little bit helps support these causes and these clubs and these endeavors. So definitely support if you can. That's, again, Saturday, 5 p.m., Maple Grove Senior High School Stadium. It's Joy Athletic. It's MapleBrook 58ers in the 2021 Unity Cup. Just pulling the soccer game, extracting that from it, that's going to be a heck of a game. Two quality clubs. I'm excited.
Yeah, some really good players on the field. And so it'll start off as a friendly. I don't know how it's going to end up, but it's going to it's going to be intense.
Yeah, competitive, intense. That's how it always is, but that's what makes it great. So, go out and support if you can. That's going to be an awesome event. We'll be posting about that on all of our socials as well. We'll have it linked in the description of the video here. And how you can help and all the info that you need for the 2021 Unity Cup. All right, so let's move forward here, Jean. So obviously you guys aren't competing from the UPSL side, in the season this year. There are rumors, though, since the Goals Minnesota Cup and the Minnesota Fall Cup were such great successes last year, that there's at least going to be potentially a 2021 edition of the Minnesota Fall Cup. Now, you guys didn't compete in the Fall Cup, but you won the Goals Minnesota Cup. So you do kind of, in a way, have a title to defend there in that tournament setting. If there is a 2021 Fall Cup, would you guys compete?
I think it's really gonna come down to if I can find the players, and what people are doing. Like I said, because we use a lot of our club players, alumni, when they leave, it doesn't leave us with a lot of youth left over. So usually, around the month of June, we'll probably make that decision to see if we can field the team. Like I said, the older guys, we kind of need the younger guys to kind of supplement a little bit, or things to get a little rough.
The legs a little bit.
Yeah. So based on availability, if I can get the players, for sure we're in. If not, we'll have to just kind of piece things together again to make a comeback next spring.
So what does the future hold for the 58ers specifically, and all the endeavors that you guys have going on MapleBrook? Obviously, you have the youth tournament to coincide with the Unity Cup, but tell us a little bit about what else you guys have going on later into 2021.
I think now that things are getting back to normal, whatever that is, I think we're going to continue pushing the mission of, again, having a next level team for our alumni from our youth club and our coaches and our trainers. We have most of our coaches at MapleBrook still played at a high level and still enjoy playing. Some of them are younger too, so that helps. But I think we're going to keep pushing that community, soccer Saturday type mentality of come out and watch your coaches play, your trainers play, get local business involved, tailgate in the parking lot, what it's supposed to be, what's fun.
Absolutely.
And so I think I'm going to keep beating that drum as long as I can. and hope to kind of that the league keeps getting bigger, keeps getting more organized, and that people get an idea that it doesn't really matter who wins the games, it doesn't really matter who wins the cup and who wins the playoffs and all that thing. Is can we make some really good events that people want to come and watch and want to have fun and incorporate it into their Saturday night? We tailgate, we go to the game, then we go out, have drinks if you're old enough, or we go to have ice cream if you're young enough, whatever. But it becomes a part of normal life here if you love soccer, in combination with supporting United and all the other things that we do here. But I think there's really a place for these community teams to play and represent, their youth clubs or their communities and their towns and stuff. So that's fun. I mean, I enjoy watching people that if I don't know who's playing, it's not as much fun for me. Right. And I'd rather go watch a group of guys that I can support and that love to play. And for me, that's awesome. So I'm just trying to bring a little bit of that to my community and see if it catches.
Well, that's awesome. We'll definitely looking forward to the first event this weekend, the 2021 Unity Cup. Check us out at 10K Pitches on Twitter, or just look at the description here of the video for all the information you need on that and everything you need to know about what's going on with both MapleBrook Soccer Club and the MapleBrook Fury, who kick off their WPSL season on Friday. Jean-Yves Viardin, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I very much appreciate it, and best of luck in everything moving forward.
Thank you. Have a good night.